Ready to get started? All right, y'all ready to start?
Yep.
Let's bring this meeting in order, please. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We need roll call. Can you do a roll call? Okay, that's whenever you're ready.
Roll call.
Okay, just call the names and they'll say present.
Okay.
We're gonna change that.
So, district manager? Treasurer?
Present.
District engineer?
Here.
District attorney?
Here.
Supervisor?
President accounted for.
Supervisor 4? C4?
Present.
Chair?
Here.
Supervisor C5?
Here.
And Supervisor C3?
Here.
All the time.
I'm impressed she knows she's got the numbers down.
Yeah, see, I knew that, that's why I wanted her to show off. Okay, we need a motion to adopt the minutes of the previous meeting, right?
No.
No, what? Oh.
I'll
You
make
said
the
numbers
motion.
are there.
Oh, we need a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Wait,
I already said aye, motion carried, go ahead. You got
which one are we talking about?
the minutes from the previous meeting.
The 19th? It's not that I don't approve it, it's that I have questions about, the minutes. Okay?
Okay, well, it has been approved, so we're not gonna spend a lot of time on it.
You don't want me to go over it?
We just approved it, so let's make it quick. We're
Okay.
moving on.
I'll make it quick. Okay. What concerns me the most about the last minutes is that 3 people from the board suggested to the manager that he do something, and he didn't do it. You suggested, you were one of them. Mata was one of them. Mr. Fumero was another person who suggested that he gets bids for the culverts for the Woodland area. Okay?
Isn't that done?
We said 2 meetings ago that it was gonna be done in-house.
Yeah.
No, you said 1 minute ago it was gonna be done in-house. You said that on the November 14th. We, 3 people asked you, the engineer suggested it, according to what you said. The manager, the engineer, Mr. Fumero, and Mr. Alvarez requested you to get an RFP for the job.
We never did it because we ended up in the conversation that it was gonna be done in-house.
They're doing.
Correct. It's done, yeah.
They bought the culverts and district staff is doing the work.
Yeah. We went the other direction, right? So it's being worked on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we already changed 4
Okay.
hours.
All right, we're good to go.
Is that only one month's meeting that you're approving, or you got 2 in there?
There should be 2.
There should be 2, right?
We approved, well,
No,
then-
November 14th, was the one that I made the corrections,
okay,
in which Ms.
so we're,
Supervisor Miller told me to go back and fix, which I did.
okay, so we need a motion to approve both.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. So with that being said, public comment. This way. Okay, yeah, public comment. Josh Parsons,
I'd like to wait a little bit, get some gas for people in there.
do what?
I said, is it possible if I can wait a little bit?
If you got something to say, it doesn't matter to anybody here or not.
Well, pretty much, I was gonna concern about the trash in the reservoir. I was gonna see if,
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
all right, pretty
I don't
much,
think you need anybody. If you need any help, you got it.
no, I know, but the reason why I was asking for more people is because more participation, having people to help. Considering actually going out there and doing a cleanup day, if it's possible, and, I already talked to the supervisor, asked them if we did do it, I'd provide all the garbage bags, stuff like that, get a bunch of people to help. We could throw the trash in the dumpster, if that was fine, he said that was fine. Maybe this is something we could do 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, it's not bad as it has been throughout the past years, but it's starting to get that bad again. Maybe we could even do maybe an incentive for the ones that does help, sign a sheet, buy maybe some orange flags, some headlights, you know, just do like a raffle to get people to try to, you know, be a part of it. If it's possible. I mean, we're looking at maybe a donation of maybe $200 out of the key money, which what do we say? 121,
Mm-hmm.
$50, you're looking at what, $6 grand? I don't know how much the keys, the locks, and all the stickers are.
About some.
But, you know, what's $200 out of that budget for the keys, we could use to buy small things to do a raffle, to get more people to come in. Maybe that will encourage enough people to do that. We can maybe pull them out of that and get them into the community and help pick up trash.
Josh, you know, like the chairman said, I'm all for it.
You have a proposed date?
No, that's why I wanted to talk to the board. I talked to some of the people that do use it on a regular basis, along with the hunt camp, fish out there.
You have a lot of support.
And, yeah, and I was waiting for someone to kind of get here.
You have a lot of support.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we vote, first of all, we can let the manager oversee it, whatever needs to be done, just let's set some parameters or whatever, vote and do it now, and be done with it, so we don't have to be,
I mean,
Chasing
it's
this
not my
month, right?
funding time to talk about it or whatever,
No,
we can do it till the next meeting. I still, like I said, I brought a list of everything, where we just name a number. We'll set up a weekend, it don't matter. And just, as you ride along throughout that day, you just pick up trash, it's not that hard.
it's a good
Bring
idea.
out a bag of trash, you get your raffle ticket, as you turn in your trash, then we'll do the raffle after everybody gets there at a certain time.
Sounds good.
So we are taking $200 from the key for that?
It's,
I just wanna make it
I was
clear.
just a number, y'all decide on
well,
that.
what,
I mean,
what do you wanna do?
it's fine with me, I just wanna make
Get the place
sure.
cleaned up,
That's cheap.
I'm
See,
for
that's
it.
why I was saying, like,
Yeah.
orange flags, everybody's supposed to have an orange flag. If we did a couple of those, they're like $19 a piece. Raffle those off, that's a safety deal, plus somebody's getting it for free, you see? Maybe even, possibly, raffle off 1 free key a year, so that person buying a key, these are only the people that help clean up.
Right.
You might
They
get
don't
20
get a ticket
people,
unless they bring
maybe.
in garbage, so they didn't, you know,
They do the raffle the same
And
day
then-
they drop their bag of trash off.
I don't care, $200 a key, it doesn't matter to me, the key's
Yeah.
cheaper,
Yeah.
but whatever y'all wanna do.
But
It's
the
fine
key
with
has
me,
to be
I
a
just wanna make
lender.
sure about the $200.
That's it.
I mean.
I think it's
go for it.
easier to just give the $200, if you wanna buy
Yeah,
a key
just
with
do a
$200.
bunch of stuff, just buy $200 worth of stuff and just raffle it off, 4 or 5 things at a time.
Okay.
That's all.
You take care of that.
Do we need a motion for that, or?
Yeah, I would do a motion.
Okay.
Put some money in.
Hey,
You
you
just,
gonna let him dump the garbage over here?
the dumpster's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to put it back in the pickup truck, haul it somewhere.
We have,
Maybe
And to
we'll-
put some in front of my house.
Thank you, that's what I was thinking, I mean, I can put it in front of my house if necessary.
that they can.
Okay,
drop
Just
off.
having some good problems.
Okay, yeah, that's what I need, this is garbage.
Just in the container.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
You have a second?
A second as well.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Motion
board.
carried.
Here's another one.
Okay. You get it? You like one?
Yeah, on December 20th, I guess most of y'all know I was terminated. College I was given was, due to my attendance. As far as I've been here, Julius, Mr. Kelly, and Rocco have been working with me due to my son's disability. I had missed a lot of days. I was allowed to make them up on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. However, there was an issue with a certification that I got back in April with Mr. Bennett. I was promised $1 raise for that certification. That was back in April. When I brought that $1 raise to Flacco's attention, it was blown away for about 2 weeks. Every time I would ask for it, he was gonna get with the board, nothing ever happened. I stepped in office on December 4th, approximately 4:44, I think it was 4:43 in the afternoon, and I asked Becky what was the results of getting paid, and she responded was, if I push the issue with my money that was owed to me, that they would push the issue with my attendance. And I told her that was a threat and that was unfair. I have never been verbally warned, nor have been written up. I have gotten nothing in my file for anything that I have done at Central County. Weeks later, I was terminated for that same reason.
Anything you wanna say?
I have no idea. We never had that conversation. Did I tell you that you were gonna be fired? That if you push that,
Your attendance.
did you send that to him, Becky?
I have a witness that's not present here today for a reason, but we were here last month for that same reason.
Okay, hold on. I wanna ask one question. Is there any warnings on this man for any of this?
We
Any
spoke
warnings?
about that, absence and
Warnings.
attendance.
Warnings,
And I told him
written warnings. I wanna see any
No.
written warnings.
there was no written warning.
Okay,
There was a verbal warning.
okay.
And at that moment, we spoke about it, and he told me that he was gonna fix the issue with, having somebody taking care of his son or something like that. Remember that?
No, when we spoke October 31st, and I'm gonna tell you the exact date, because I'm not assuming this is facts. October 31st, me and you rode to Clewiston for the clubhouse for the Halloween cupcakes that me and you were going to pick up. When you were telling me that you felt bad for my condition, that you were so lucky that your kids were healthy enough to play baseball and go to school every day, unlike my son. And I told you that I was gonna try to get my mom to help me out as much as she could for the 2 weeks that she was gonna be on vacation. That was our discussion. However, there's check stubs there's time cards here where you have allowed me to make my time up on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays because you knew that my son had doctor's appointments.
And now that you
Now
mentioned
that I
that,
chased the money,
Okay, one at a time.
now that I chased the money that Central County actually owed me, and the check stubs in here, that I was paid for, I was not wrong, or chasing my money, I was threatened, and then I was terminated.
All right,
For the
I got
same
a
reason.
question. Go ahead.
Could you go ahead?
No, go ahead. I was just gonna, Jeff.
Miguel, do you have a figure of what the district owes you?
They've
An
already,
amount?
they've already paid me. They went ahead and paid me, after I had to go to the board.
So they don't owe you anything anymore?
No, they do not. Whoever, I did go to board members, I don't wanna say, but I was threatened that when I did, that my, can was gonna be open on my attendance in front of other employees that were in the office, not just one,
Alright,
there were several. And I made it clear that that was a threat.
so the district doesn't owe you a penny?
No, sir.
Could I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming that all the supervisors got a letter that Emilio sent us
Yes.
with 4 points on that letter. Everybody got it? I took that letter to his office. It was a Thursday. I have the date down in my house. And I
before,
said-
I'm sorry, before we keep this conversation, I wanna make something clear.
Okay.
And I told you this, Mr. Fumero, when I spoke to Miguel in the office, he got upset, and he didn't mention that he contacted his lawyer. Before we keep going with this conversation, I don't have no problem with the conversation, I just wanna make that clear.
I do not have no attorney. None.
Okay.
I could continue then?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
I went to the office to see you, and I took a copy of a letter that he sent us. And in that letter, I went over every single point that he wrote down. He didn't have, he's right, he did not have any written verbal warning. Okay, and that's something else I wanna touch about policies for Central County. I went over every single question and I wrote down the answers that he gave me. I showed it to him and I said, is this what you said to me? And the answer was yes. And I asked him, please send me this letter back to me. I want you to answer all of these questions that I have for you. I wrote it to you in a letter, answer me those questions and send it back to me. I have still not seen the answers to those questions
What was the last time you checked your email?
today.
I send you an email explaining to you that I had a conversation with Mr. Fumero, and because Miguel mentioned about the attorney, Mr. Fumero requests from me not to answer any of those questions.
Of my questions?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you send me that letter?
The email?
Yes, the email.
Now, what I see,
Few days ago.
clear what I
When did you
said.
send it to me?
Okay, then that clear yourself, Mr. Mayor.
Let him clear this.
Okay.
Yeah, just to be clear, what I said was, you should not create correspondence regarding a personnel matter where it could go into a legal action, you could discuss it. Talk.
That's correct. That's what he said.
But
Yes.
start putting in writing, you know, answering questions when an employee is being terminated and they said they were gonna hire a lawyer, is not a good idea. But to have, you can talk all you want about it.
He could have called me and said that to me, he didn't. Okay, he did not communicate that to me. You say you sent me an email, I'm gonna look at my emails
Yes,
again.
ma'am.
Okay. But what I'm trying to say is that we have to look at, as a board, my suggestion is that we look at the policies, not only for the employees, for the manager too. Okay, because I believe that, yes, he may hire and fire according to his job description, as long as he follows the policies. If you don't follow the policies, you're not a dictator. You're not anyone to impose your views on how Central County should be run. Because that's why, as supervisors, you were the one that brought in the policies. And whoever brings in the policies and we approve, that's what we use to guide ourselves. And no one is excluded from that.
So,
Okay.
Can I finish something?
Hold on a minute, hold on a minute. I wanna say something. You knew at this job, and that makes a lot of sense to me, why maybe some of these things weren't done the way they're supposed to be. First thing we need to do is decide what we're gonna do with him. And the second thing we need to do is make sure that you understand the policies and procedures and all this stuff. I mean, you know, we can argue about this all night long, and who did what, and why they didn't do it. I'm not for that, okay? We know what happened, now we gotta move forward. So first thing is, what are we gonna do about him? And the second thing is, from here on out, when you speak with someone, have her in the office with you and write it down. Verbal warning, it's a verbal warning, write it down. A warning, and we want a paper trail. My conscience.
Good or bad?
Good or bad, yeah. I have a lot of, and I'm not beating up on you, because I'm here to back you. I believe that you got the job, you're gonna do this job. We're gonna tag along. I don't like people interfering in your job. I don't like interfering in your job. I like it to go as we say. However, we are the last word here, and at some point, we have to interfere, or we have to make changes or adjustments. With that being said, we're not here to beat up on you, and maybe we need to go through these policies and make sure you understand how this is done. I know you're new. I wanna put that out there. With all that being said, what are we gonna do about him? Do you want your job back?
I would like my job back as long as there's there's not gonna be no further attacks. As I was trying to, finish saying, after the first threat by her on last month's meeting, it was on the 19th. We had some issues with some death threats made. I spoke to the sheriff's department. It actually just happened so that both of them were sent back here. They come in here and it was addressed to Flacco. I tried to stand up many times, hold my hand up to speak about the death threats that were made not only to me, but to another employee. Just happened so, that because the sheriff's department stood up, the board addressed the issue also. The very next day, I was terminated. The very next day. It's obvious. He's after one attack, after another attack.
Okay.
You wasn't fired after that meeting.
I was fired.
That meeting was way.
That was Wednesday night.
Gentlemen, listen, time out.
Fired on
Time
Thursday.
out. My problem here is, I will say this again, I will always have your back. If I think you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. My problem is, I don't see any paperwork. I have a problem with that, there's no paperwork, no warnings. It bothers me, it really does. It's just not the way we do things.
I don't have no problem with him going back.
I'm sorry, I am sorry. You,
Thank you.
I'm very sorry. I hate to interrupt you if you don't recognize me.
I'm sorry, I was,
Why only two supervisors knew about this? And
Email.
about that letter?
He emailed. It came through our email.
He emailed him
He
to
emailed
all
it.
of us.
He emailed it to all of us.
All of us?
Yeah.
Ask him, he's right here.
I think you can answer that.
That's the form of the that's how we communicate through email, pretty much. Unless, it was through email. I received it through email.
So that we can find it.
okay, that's it with you.
I hope that today, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
you give me the opportunity, or we take the opportunity to go over some policies. We could do this of 3 policies a meeting, a month.
Yes.
And as we see them work, we keep them. If they don't work,
Right.
we're the last word.
Yeah, we
So-
definitely have to get all that straight, and like I said, I know he's new, and maybe not clear on how this is all supposed to be done. With that being said, anybody have any ideas where we go from here? What I'm hearing, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
You say, Miguel, no paperwork, we're gonna give you your job back. I don't think it's gonna work. He's bitter. You can look at both of them. We're
No,
gonna have a problem.
I'm not bitter, I love my job, I love my job. I just
No, I don't have anything. I'm gonna make something clear.
Okay,
No, I didn't took nobody's word to pay him while he was home. Nobody pushed me to that. I
Right.
made that decision.
okay.
So I don't know
Why did it take
if
so
he
long?
talks to any board members or anything like that. I'll sit down with Becky and I say, well, the deal, first of all, the deal was not with me. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't have to pay him that money.
Well,
Because I didn't know anything about it.
that's,
So I didn't have to make that decision.
Right. That could be argued one way or
And
another.
I went forward and I told Becky, bring all those weeks back and let's see how much we owe him. And we did. We
Yes.
pay him everything and we give him the dollar. The time on the weekends, I help him with that. I told him, hey, Miguel, always on the weekend I'm in the office, or if no, I'll go to the office. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, that's what
And
I'm
he,
saying.
I let him work on the weekend so he can cover that time. And I was just sitting over here in the office, but I don't have no problem with him going back, but I just want him to understand that I need a full-time job.
Worker,
Um,
full-time
Yeah,
worker.
a full-time worker. But
I-
we have a lot to do right now.
I didn't understand why you allowed him to be absent, right? 64 times, I think the letter said 68?
Out of 68.
No.
Out of 68 days, be absent 30-something days. And then decide that it was too much.
I'll tell you why I decided.
I know your
I've
answer.
been there, I can agree with you.
I decided because
Get better.
the last time he missed, he missed Wednesday and Thursday. Okay? And then we've been asking him to bring at least the papers from his son. And when he bring the papers to us on Monday, that paper was for the 15th,
The 14th.
The 14th.
the
Which was a
14th,
Friday.
which it
we're
was a
not working.
Friday. It has nothing to do with Wednesday and Thursday or something like that. I know him is, so,
Mhm.
Listen, a paper trail, the message that I sent you on the 12th
Yeah,
was that
hold
my
on.
son,
Hold on.
my son was having a
We're straight,
reaction
hold
to
on.
the
We're
season
straight
message.
here. We're straight here. I need paper. If I had paper, we wouldn't be having this conversation. This would have lasted 5 minutes. You throw a file of warnings here on me, says Miguel, sorry, can't help.
Mr. Chair, can I ask you a question? In terms of the paperwork,
Yes, sir.
I know that there were problems with this employee and the former manager,
Right.
some serious issues that were brought to the board, and was there any documentation, any verbal or written warnings between the prior manager?
No,
I,
never,
There's no problem.
never.
we
See,
did.
that's, so,
Because there's a history.
but there is no history, there's no paper.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah,
didn't
no,
happen.
I meant
Yeah.
documentation.
Right.
So that's what we have to change here, is documentation. Again, as I explained, we have the power to do a lot of things, and including my employees, I have a lot to do. But the thing is, again, when I terminate an employee, he already knows he's being terminated because of what he has in his files already. And my thing is, I give every one of the employees, we should give every employee the opportunity to correct issues, if there are issues. But again, if there's no issues, the issue should be all in the, written reprimands, the whole thing. So that's what we need on all, and here's the other thing is, what I don't see, and hopefully we're doing it, is evaluations on all of our employees.
We have evaluations, yes, we do.
Have we done them?
They're in the office, yes,
So all of our employees get evaluated once a year,
yes.
and you go over it with the employees, because
Yes.
you haven't been in your position for a year.
No, I'm not, but I already evaluate, the new employees after the 90 days, not for the year.
But yearly,
I did B,
okay, and we've always done yearlies.
I don't know.
Yes,
Yes, we've always done
Always
yearly.
done yearly.
Okay, good, good to know.
Mr.
So that
Chair.
kind of stuff also helps as well.
One other problem also is that if you look at the policies, it doesn't say that the warning, the verbal warning has to be written. So I think that needs to be changed.
Yes,
That's
I
up
do.
to us.
Yes,
It must be, and I have it here to discuss today with you.
it's almost the way it's set up, verbal, you know, but you gotta write it down so you know that the verbal was given, otherwise there's no paper trail. It doesn't count, I guess it doesn't count as hard as the other one, but it's still, in my opinion, that's what I'm used to. It's
Yes.
written down, and I agree with what he said. When the employee comes to me, here I know what the problem is. I have a file, this day, everything, nothing's been done, but you say that there was a problem with the previous manager, we have no record of that, and there's really no record here. So with that being said, what do y'all wanna do? Yes, ma'am.
Because he stated that I made a correct report.
Yes, ma'am.
The day that happened at the office, he waited for our supervisor to step out of the office while all the employees were there, and went on complaining about the hours that were, the money that was owed to him. And I told him, just drop it because it's something that they're investigating. I was like, and this is not the opportune time in front of all the other employees for you to state what you're stating. It should have been with the supervisor.
Right.
And those kind of things, not disagreeing what you're saying, those kind of things have to get documented.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with anything.
I
I'm
agree,
just-
but
that was my statement, and like I told him, I said, giving you an example,
Yeah,
if you wanna, just the example itself,
yeah.
you know, we've worked with the absences. I said, you've never been written up. I was like,
Yes.
but this is what I'm telling him. It's giving him listen, give us a chance to investigate your time from April, and I did. I went back, I pulled all the records, I even got with Mr. Bennett. I said, Mr. Bennett, do you have the letter that gives Miguel the certification? Because when he's working, he's a hard worker. I've always stated that. But when I pulled the record, April 24th, 17th was when it was given to him. So I told him, I said, I went back, I sat down with Mr. Arminio,
So
and
this,
we went back and we looked at all the, his time, and we made sure that the time that he was working, he was reimbursed the hours, the dollar that whatever was missed. And that's what we gave him. It was 12.39 that was paid back to him.
Yeah, that part I'm not
All
arguing.
right, so,
No, I'm just stating.
so
I
here
just
we
wanted
are.
that to be clear.
We're back to where we were 20 minutes ago. No paperwork, so anybody have any suggestions?
Being that I see it as our fault, because the manager did not follow the employee, the policies, and he's willing to stay in this environment.
Yeah, any suggestions, gentlemen?
Anybody?
Agree with me?
certified?
Yeah, that's what worries me. So, let me make a suggestion. How long have you been at home not being paid?
Since December 20th.
Y'all wouldn't pay him till the day and sign it off and make sure we get some documentation. He signs that we're liable for nothing, pay him till today and wind it up?
I'll make that motion.
Will you take it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you think, gentlemen?
I'll make that motion.
Do we need a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Done deal.
Thank you.
So just so that we're clear, so, that check, when it gets cut, I will give you, there'll be a release
Yes.
form. When he signs it, the check gets a check. Okay?
Thank you.
Now, so now,
And may I say something to Ms. Miller, made a good point. We have a very old employee policy, and I think Ms. Miller's right. It is worth updating it and making sure that the doc, like she said, she's right.
Thank you,
It just talks
I
about
appreciate
all reprimands, it doesn't really address documentation. So I think Ms. Miller's right, we'll update that and bring that back to you for consideration. Simplify, it's an overly complicated policy.
It has been simplified, and what the last manager did, he took out all the consequences. And I said, how in the world can you take out all the consequences and let you decide what the consequences are? So I went back to the original policy, and the consequences that made sense, I put them back. Okay? We could look at what is already there. I think it's the one that Mr. Naranjo brought in from the city of Clewiston. And we could look at, spend maybe 15 minutes on it each meeting and get it over with. I think the managers should have policies.
he needs to know and understand them, first of
Okay.
all. Like I
Right.
said, I'm behind, he started just the other day, so he needs to know and
He
understand.
knows to know and follow
And-
them,
And we push on.
and then the employees need policies.
So let's go, before we adjourn,
Oh,
we'll
I'm
go
sorry,
back.
you were not here. I started with supervisors' policies. So we have about 8 policies in for supervisors. Common sense, there's nothing outside of this world.
Okay.
And maybe the secretary could send it to us.
I tried looking for them, I couldn't find them in the system.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was some times ago, we couldn't find it.
2 years ago.
Yes.
I'll look in my
Couldn't find
file.
it.
Okay.
I'll look in my file.
We definitely, before we leave tonight, I wanna go over, I think we need to just go over a few points and make sure that we're clear on procedure from here on out, and make sure we'll all vote on it. It'll be in the record, and then we could add to that every meeting, just like you said. I think it's a good idea. Okay. Yes, sir.
Instead of a regular meeting, why don't we have a workshop?
Would you rather guys do a workshop?
So we don't take the value of time
Okay,
from the stuff that we need to solve,
okay.
and we can have set up a workshop.
Yes, what day, what day works for everybody? Next week?
Now, let me ask you about,
You have to advertise.
you wanna do the workshop and not, can you make it an hour early?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You wanna do the workshop instead of, at 6 o'clock from 6 to 7, and then we continue to the regular meeting?
On the same day.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
It works for me, yeah, if it works, yeah, we can start,
We did that before.
So we'll
Okay.
advertise it.
for the next meeting, we'll start, 5:30 if you want to, it doesn't matter, give us plenty of time.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
Done.
1 hour, we dedicate an hour for, policy and procedures.
Okay, 6 it is. Okay, so we're through with all that?
Yep.
The manager's report.
I've been interviewing the candidates from the applications that I have, and doing background checks. We have an incident report on pump number 4. Somebody breaking into the pump cage and they took the battery from the pump. It's been already reported to the police. We've been working on the Woodland project for like 2 weeks now. We haven't been able to work anymore for the last week because our dump truck is down. Well, actually 2 of them, we just fixed it. And at the same time, we've been trying to combine all the dump truck between the roads and the Woodland project. We are up to date with all the covers and covers inspection and states. Mr. Bernard has been with us on the Woodland project, so he made sure that everything is done the right way. The trash pickup through Montura is been increasing big time. And, just so you have an idea, the last bill was close to $3,000 without counting the employee time and the equipment and the diesel and everything else we cannot do because we're picking trash.
How much was the dumpster that's gone?
It depends on the weight.
It was a weight deal?
Yeah, it depends on the weight.
We did these numbers before, years ago.
$100,000 a year.
You know,
We did this before, so.
Yeah.
The numbers, it was a no-brainer. By the time we use equipment, man, like you said, it's getting worse, and it's gonna get worse and worse and worse, and before you know it, that's all you're gonna be doing, so you're gonna leave everything else you gotta do behind, plus what it's costing, it's just not worth it, yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I've been opposed from day one. Getting closing the thing. I write it out to see if it will be any change. I ride around, I see trash all over the place. And the people that have come to me, they're very upset because they cannot bring the trash here legally. If they take it to town, okay, which includes when they charge you, to dump it in, okay? And they charge you a minimum fee of how much trash you have. You know, so many tonnage, even if it's a small pickup.
Yeah.
So, I would like to see the dumps open again. For the simple reason, like you stated, I have followed them. Okay? Not as a spying, but because I wanted to see them go twice. You need two equipments. You need two operators. You need to be riding around in the back roads, picking up tires, this, trash. The people are complaining that sometimes they put the trash in front of their houses. And according to the trash people, they were supposed to pick it up, they don't pick it up. Okay? And if it's this and if it's that. So I think we're shooting a dead horse. We need to go back to what we had when the residents would come in and sign, okay? And verify the address, like we used to do,
During hours, and at one point, we decided to have a half a day Saturday, and someone was here, checked everybody in and out, at 12 o'clock, shut all the doors, and it was over with. It was controlled.
Right.
But the cost was tremendous.
So,
Chases like
the
he's doing.
bottom line is, instead of saving money, we actually spending more money.
It's harder to say, but it is.
So I hereby, again, make a motion.
Hold on one second. Yes, sir.
Before y'all make that motion, just keep in mind, the word's already around the neighborhood, just throw it out, Central County will pick it up. So what we've done now is from them bringing it to the dumpster, we're having to pick it up, Central County, and because they'll just know that Central County is gonna pick it up.
Yeah, well,
So, I mean-
the word was out before, and it changed once they realized it was open.
Exactly, so I mean, it's getting really bad now because, you know, they're picking up trash, so everybody does, just throw it out, they'll pick it up, ain't no biggie.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
see.
Hereby,
Hold on, before you make the motion, please. I would like to say something. The garbage that is charged in Clewiston is construction garbage. We're not talking about regular garbage, right?
There's different.
Oh, they're different?
You have to pay
Okay.
for it anyway.
Well-
There's construction.
Mr. Alvarez, I don't know
vegetation.
if you are aware, or you either, that the last bill, I think that we had was $9,000 for the month.
And if he continues at the rate he's going, it's gonna be $20,000 for a month.
And not only that,
It's not only that, it's that we,
okay, that'll be almost $100,000 a year if we keep it up.
So,
And it's not garbage that's being thrown out. It is furniture that the company could pick up, tires the company pick up.
Excuse me for just a minute. Hey, we need to conduct a meeting. We don't need to hear your talking, so just keep it down. I can hear you over her. I mean, honestly. Go ahead.
It's tires, is mattresses that could be picked up in front of the house.
Yeah.
It's not construction, so that's why I advocate this. I'm against what he's saying, but okay, we'll vote on it. But I'm just letting you hear both sides. $9,000, the last bill we had.
Yes. We did the math before. and it
What
was-
happened to the employee who was gonna hire just to pick up garbage? I know they gonna cost
And we-
$100,000 a year.
And we
to ride around and pick
we
up
had her
garbage.
go out and do it person by person with the address, with an ID, and it still went up to $9,000.
Yeah, okay, well,
That's all I have to say.
You have to consider how many permits we issue,
171 permits for the year of 2018.
It's that's 171 more residents moving in.
Illegal, more, 171 more illegal number?
Kind of.
I'm not against them, because they've dumped on my property 3 times in the last month.
So I'm gonna do it again.
the motion.
I hereby make a motion that we open the dumpster under the discretion of the manager under control. That means people that have to present residency status, okay? And no commercial dumpster.
Are we going to, okay, again, tonight, we're not gonna take roofing material, concrete, or are we taking all that as well?
You gotta take it all, or otherwise the building.
I'm asking now, because there's different prices.
Yeah.
If a resident does some renovation in his house
Okay,
and he tears down a stucco wall,
okay.
yeah, of course, on the dump. So, I believe that as long as we control the commercial dumping, we stop. But I seen it, guys. People do work in Lewiston, people do work in the belt, and they come here with a full trailer, and they leave back in the morning with an empty trailer.
I'll be the guy one time, right, make that right
So that was my motion.
Okay.
And I hope this board backs me up on this. I know that we're gonna spend the money, but in the long run, we actually move it forward because he has more time to do what he's supposed to do. And the residents are happy, so they have a place to go.
Okay, so the motion, yes, sir, quickly.
Real quick, being a former employee in Central County, and I've worked that gate during that garbage detail, there's 2 things that can't really take. One is tires and the other one is white goods, like wash machines, dryers, refrigerators, so forth on. But what's happened in the past is someone that actually does own land here will bring a contractor in here and they'll show their ID, and guess what? You have to let them in because guess what? They wasn't in there.
We're gonna
So-
decide how we're gonna do this.
I mean, we've got people that just own property here, they don't live here,
Yeah.
but have a business out of town, and they bring their stuff here.
What I suggested is they bring a light bill with them.
Yep,
Okay.
Whatever you need and a light bill.
yep.
Yes, sir.
And at the same time, Mr. Chair, if we have a dumpster that we have a recycling individual here, that he brings on his own a dumpster for metal,
Oh, yeah.
okay? We can have that dumpster in there under the control of the management.
Yes.
Have the same thing, instead of the metal going to in our dumpsters, we can go and we can put it in this dumpster. Okay? I don't know, do you agree with this?
You're, you're doing it, then, yeah, I agree with there, it's not, it's just, it's less than we have to do with.
Give me a price
Yes,
for
sir.
the metal, you got it.
So, are you willing to give us a little kickback
You want to drop
for?
off?
Easy, boy.
What? No. Compensation.
I think we need kickbacks on what's inside the gate that you pick up.
What I'm saying is, we know that you're making money, okay?
Of course, it's hard work putting dumpsters in things.
I don't care that he makes money, as long as we don't have to spend it, but it's your motion. Yes, sir, and then we'll get back to your motion.
One thing I want to bring up is the last time that this came around, that they got rid of this was part of the plan on lowering taxes to keep from going from 100 to 75. So now, once we go back in, and this doesn't cost no $60,000 a year, it's about $100,000 a year. 10 years ago, whenever we put in them dumpsters over there, there's only one. $3,000 a month. It goes from 3 to 10, 20, you know, it grows.
Yes.
So as more people move in, it's gonna go over 100,000. That's why we took that away to keep the taxes from going up. So now we're gonna go right back and commit the same mistake
Well, I don't believe it's a mistake, because the problem is you're not spending it on the dumpsters, but you're spending it with the help, chasing garbage all over Ventura.
But-
We did these numbers a long time ago, and I can tell you, the dumpster fee was this, by the time you stopped, no one put a price on the jobs you weren't doing, just what you were doing, and it by far exceeded the dumpster. So, with that being said, there's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll make that second.
Okay, a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried.
How many dumpsters you guys wanna start with? 3 or 2?
Two. Now, remember, gotta be locked up.
No tires, no white goods. Y'all better make that rule, I'm telling you right now.
What?
No tires and no white goods, you better go ahead and put it down on the paper now.
You got one from him.
You guys want to clear here, don't throw garbage in my dump.
So we've got,
And throw
motion
no branches
includes
too.
two
Throw all kind of logs
dumpsters
in
plus a
there.
recycling.
A recycling dumpster?
And what the gentleman said is right, and that's probably in our contract with the company
It
that
is.
gets the dumpsters. They're not gonna take white goods, or tires, so, you know, that needs to be.
It's not supposed to be no paint, no tires,
Right.
no logs.
Yep.
No batteries.
Because
There's a ton of
those-
stuff in there. It's not
those
just
go
3
to
things, there's a ton of
hazardous
stuff.
landfill.
They put that on my property.
So
And they are collected by the company
That's what they
except
put-
for the
that's
paint.
what they put it.
The tires are collected 4 at a time, every Tuesday and every
I don't
Friday.
want company. Them, and that
By the
dumpster,
company, the trash company.
no, no ma'am.
You can do it in front of your house.
Put it in front of your house.
No, in front of your house, yes, but there's been times that he would not take dumpsters because they had tires in them. Trust me, I know.
I'm not talking about the dumpsters, I'm talking about
Oh,
putting
okay.
the tires in front of.
Okay,
That's
so
different, yeah.
restrict what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything that's illegal, we can't have.
And the manager can maybe in 3-4 months report back, see how things are progressing,
Yes,
if they're heading in the right direction or not.
yes, we have, it's gotta be controlled, though. It
Has to
can't
be in
be
the budget.
left open for anybody to, of
So,
course, that's
so
gonna be
let's,
crazy.
let's do this just to help the public again. Post some signs
Yes.
and also broadcast it on on our social,
Website.
not social
Yeah.
thing, but our webpage, whatever we have. But we have to have signs. This will be allowed, no gray areas, because
Right.
you know, us Spanish people out here loving gray areas. There's nothing gray areas.
Mr. Trevino, what happened to the signs that you had made up?
We already approved it.
Okay, what happened to
Because
them?
the lady is been in the hospital for like 4 months. She's actually dying out of cancer. And there's only one employee, I think, right, Becky?
So you will not be getting your signs? Because if the signs that they order through me is not here, you can forget about yours for now.
Oh, we did with fast signs and Hollywood.
Can we ask somebody else?
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
They are, no, they are in, they're being printed. Because
Yeah.
I spoke with Myrna, they're already being printed, they've been sent out, they're coming back. As, according to the commercial signs
Yes.
of what, Mr. Parsons spoke about, they're still posted there. It says, no tree logs, no white
White
goods, all of
goods,
that is
all
still
that is
there.
still there.
The signs are still there,
We're gonna have someone walking out there with them, and they're not gonna dump it. Simple as that.
correct.
And the problem is, they gotta go dump it down the street, but we'll have to deal with that. Cause I'm telling you, this was a fix all, this fixed it all. The minute they can't dump, they're gonna go throw it somewhere else. But let's see where that goes. We did this before, we tracked numbers, and it was a no-brainer to put those in there. Now, if you just leave it open, there's a free-for-all and everything, of course, it's gonna be a fortune. Let's see what it does. But now you can put your people back to work and they don't have to chase garbage all over them. That's what we want. All right, so you were given a report, go right ahead.
Yes, like I said, the Woodland employer is already, we already changed 4 covers, out of the 12. We have to stop because the dump truck. We've been getting a lot of, contractors for the clubhouse roof, and we've been getting a lot of quotes for new trucks, truck repairs, which you guys have through the website, through the email. And also, the contractors, we have one that already gave us an estimate on the pool deck, and I think Mr. Benner is coming on Thursday, right? With Craig Johnson for another one. We haven't got that one yet. I don't know if you guys have decided anything about the equipment. We do have a big issue especially with the dump truck, that's our,
What is, have they gave you a price to fix it? I'm curious. Not that
they
I-
gave me the price on the Mac that's been sitting for 4 years or $20,800 or something like that.
The Mac?
Yeah.
The Mac, yes,
The Invention?
yes, the Vision. Yes.
No, I wouldn't do it. No.
And the estimate trade-in for that Mac is $5,000.
Trade in?
Yes.
You can jump it. Of course, we're not jumping it.
Put it in the dumpster.
Whew. Well, I would go get it. I would go get it and bring it here as quick as possible before you get charged.
No, we spoke to the guy and he says he's gonna hold it with no charge, so it's fine, we got that covered. Now, the thing with the dump truck is we still, even though that we're still moving forward, it's holding us back
We,
from,
I looked at the quotes on the new truck,
yes.
and I'm gonna throw this out there. Did y'all ask if there was something used in good shape, bought from a dealer, not from a shyster on South River Drive in Miami?
I personally
Yeah.
spoke with the guy on Fort Myers and also with the guy from the Peterbilt. And they do say that they don't carry used one, but they can find it for us. It's just gonna take longer. That's exactly what they say, both of them basically.
You can find you could probably buy two for the price of one.
Right.
Good used trucks in good shape, may or may not have factory warranties. 'Cause I looked at that, that's one truck, it's a lot of money. It's never gonna leave this area. You got a road truck which you're buying,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of money. That concerns me.
Well, I'm just
Yeah,
wanna let you guys know that it's holding us back from,
yeah.
you know.
So,
We're
let's,
not getting anything accomplished.
Why don't we,
He had a question.
okay,
Louis had a question.
yes, sir. Just you.
About lease?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
They do?
It's on here, it's on here.
Yeah.
It's on here.
The reason why all these big corporations,
It's in your packet.
they do the leasing versus the buying.
It's in the packet.
On the leasing, you get 100% in. So any breakage, whatever it is covered under the lease. On that extended insurance, whatever it's called. So, we could try to lease the equipment, we can keep it so many years, and then we can always turn it in and get a new equipment. I did not invent the wheel. All the big corporations, all the counties and everything, they do the leasing first, and I don't know, on the Indian reservation.
We do it.
Okay. So
Farmers do it.
I suggest that we go into the leasing mode,
Yes.
which we don't have to put all that heavy money in there. And I think we'd be better off if we go with the leasing of the equipment.
I prefer the lease. We don't have to take care of any
The
mechanic.
biggest thing that we have to understand, excuse me for interrupting, the biggest thing that we have to understand is 20 years from now, we're still gonna have dirt roads in Montana. So we're gonna have to either lease, buy, rent, something. We're gonna have to do something, but 20 years from now, we're still gonna have these roads. We
So
gotta
why don't we
maintain.
start with the leasing?
Why don't we get prices on the leasing and try to find something? Was there a lease here?
Yes,
I
sir.
looked at it, I didn't see it. I saw the full price. Well, I had looked at this, I had it on my email, but I could, it was hard to see. Yeah.
We got it in the back.
It's in your private.
And somebody-
This one, yeah, but you didn't give it to me when you went to leave
Yeah.
when you left this in my house, you didn't leave me.
I forwarded it as emails to
I got
everybody.
it, right.
That's
To
what
the
I,
email.
but that's what I got, yeah, and I just printed that out so you could have it here for the lease.
You probably don't have it on that package that you're talking about because they were coming in, you know, on a different days and.
Yeah, it was after you picked up the agenda.
I wanted to ask Mr. Manager, how much do you project the Woodland area, how much it's gonna cost? The work,
How much it's gonna cost?
the culverts that you're putting in and all that.
Well, we pay 15,000 for the metal covers and 9,000 for the plastic covers.
Okay, and with the work of the men, what do you project it's gonna cost, the whole thing, fixing it? Being that you also used, Mr. Bennett and all that.
Well, just the other day, we changed 4 in one day, so it's not gonna be that much.
So also,
So you don't have a number?
not the
If
dollar.
I were to ask you an estimate, you cannot tell me 30,000, 20,000 or
Can
whatever.
we discuss this on a couple meetings ago that you presented, how much it was gonna cost and how much we can do?
Yeah, I just don't have it in my mind right now, but I have it there.
It will
You have
be
it?
Yeah.
a lot cheaper.
Yes,
Or the engineer back us up with this. that
Let's move.
Yes.
Even if
Yeah.
you pay the engineer,
yes,
it will still gonna be a lot cheaper.
yes, it's just,
Alright.
I don't have it in my mind right now.
Let's go back to the question. Yes, sir.
I know y'all kind of talking about it, the whole Woodland thing, but wasn't there, maybe I'm mistaken, but some of the older board members, wasn't there an amendment or a vote that we weren't gonna buy no more used stuff because of the green truck, the situation with that last time?
I don't know anything about that.
The truck was bought used and it turned out to be a piece of crap since day
Well,
one.
that's a long story how it was bought too. So
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I mean,
You
wasn't there
had your
something?
hand up?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a long story.
yes. I'm the one driving every day, the piece of junk we have over here.
Yes.
We really need a truck.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
mean,
we're trying to get this
It's
done.
in a real bad condition.
I wanna leave here tonight with the
It's
order to get a
undrivable,
truck.
undrivable, and I do it every day, but I mean, we need something to do everything okay over here, I mean, and running everything okay. I mean, it's my.
My goal is to leave here tonight with him going to get a truck,
Yeah.
one way or
okay.
the other, so.
We really need a truck
Yes,
for
sir.
running everything.
All the rental equipment that we have there, there's actually junk. Why don't we just,
Put it in the dumpster.
Piece of junk.
no,
Oh.
sell it? No. One, I'm gonna ask you,
It's not even due.
take seal bids on the equipment, you can line it up on one side of.
I was just talking actually with Mr. Fumero today about that, and he mentioned, I don't know exactly the legal words, but he says that we can do it any other way.
Yeah.
right?
Because of the dollar thresholds, we don't have to do sealed bids, but I walked, I'll report to you later, I walked back there today, and there's a lot of stuff, I think you fairly call it junk.
Yeah.
It's not operable, and without an act of God, it's not gonna be operable, but you should just get it out of there,
Well,
clean it up.
And everything's fixable, the problem is at what cost? And if it's, with a certain amount of hours, the cost just goes up and goes up and goes up, so. Dump truck.
Well, I'm for either one, buy, lease, rent, to own.
Let's establish a price.
Let's give him, my number's
Let's
60,000.
establish.
My number's 60,000.
That's it.
Don't let him spend no more than 60 on a used dump truck. We would like to have some kind of,
When you say a dump truck, because what we're saying now is not a dump truck, that's 5 yards. We're moving when he says he moved 50 yards, nothing.
no, I'm talking about a
50
10-wheeler
loads.
now, I'm talking about a 10
We're
wheeler.
talking about 18 to 20 tons.
Yeah, 24 tons.
That's a dump truck.
Yeah, that's
18 to
done,
20
yeah.
tons
Right,
is a
I'm
dump
not
truck.
talking about that little.
We're not
one
moving that
axle.
right now.
No, that's why we need a decent dump
Okay.
truck. And I'm thinking $60,000 cap,
On the lease or the buy?
on a buy. And you look at the lease is $2,000 a month.
He's got a lease price for 2,300 already.
Sometimes that's,
I'm saying that's what you wanna do. Right now, he has a lease price of 2,300 according to the email that I just
Yes,
sent.
that's correct.
so you get one for 60,000, it's in good shape, it's gotta be in good shape. Reputable dealer, we'd like to have some kind of warranty. And what do y'all wanna do? Y'all wanna give him some, I'll tell you, I'm ready to give him a dump truck. I don't wanna put this off another 30 days and another 30 days and another.
I like the challenge. I have no problem doing everything you guys asking. Like I said, we're moving forward.
Yes.
We're not backing up, but
No, we're
there
not backing
is
up.
We're
holding me
hindering you right
back.
now, we're hindering you right now.
It's holding me back.
And
So
we have,
you wanna
we
lease
have
it?
a dry season right now. Later, the rain is coming out.
Whether
Stop.
it's leased or bought, 60 grand is the cap.
Okay,
Well, the lease is only for brand new trucks.
yeah, the lease,
This is only for brand new trucks.
Let him come back, you might come away with
Can
that.
we find something that's?
Yeah.
I think so. I think you can find.
The San Mac truck was $60,000.
The what?
The Mac truck,
Which one?
the one that is sitting on Puma is
Yeah, but wait,
$60,000.
let's don't talk about that. That was,
Same.
oh my God, yeah, of course it was. It could have been 162, but you know, that's in the past. That's crazy.
So, you need a motion?
I wanna be clear on,
The
where
lease
we
is
sitting.
$2,300.
Yeah, 2,300 a month. That's
$2,300.
a big.
If I don't mistake, I don't have to pay for it.
We have to run that truck to death to get that one out of it. If you find one $50,000-$60,000, if it's in good shape, taken care of, that thing will last you 20 years. Do the math.
Basically,
You're money ahead.
2 years of lease is almost $60,000.
Yeah, there's no, you can't do it.
So,
Yes.
if you can find a truck in good condition for 60,000 or less, you can buy up a warranty or an extended warranty, the math is easy.
It's
That
easy,
beats
yeah.
the lease for sure.
I don't have no
There's a lot of
problem. I
equipment
just
you can't
need,
use.
I just need my piece of equipment so I
So-
can go forward.
So 60,
That's all I
if
want.
does anybody, do we wanna say names, does anybody wanna, supervise, yeah, supervise this? You can do it, I can do it. Okay, so we need a motion to, approve 60,000 for a dump truck, and, Mr. Mata's gonna supervise. He's gonna check back and forth with him, make sure that, I think he'll represent us well,
he will.
and we'll push on.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Second,
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And we put Mr. Mata, being that he's familiar. with-
Yeah, he's
Yes,
gonna, he's
yes,
gonna
he's gonna-
supervise the,
Right.
there's another word, they're gonna be going back and forth. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried, okay. You got your dump truck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now the other equipment.
That was the easy one. Okay, what else you got?
The
What
other
else you got? Yeah. You wanna, let's do the other report, the other stuff, and then we'll get back to this.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do, who's next? The, engineers report. And then we'll get back to this. This is gonna take a while.
I'll be brief because most of my report we've already talked about. We're working on the wheels. And I did instruct, 3 of the employees on how to set the grades and the stakes for the new culverts, and also how to inspect one once it's been put in. And this is the time of year when we have to do our annual report to South Florida Water Management. C-139 pages, I'll be working on that. And, that's really all I have.
Okay.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bennett, as we're working with our team on the Woodlands area, we're gonna be able to be done, I guess, depending on equipment and stuff like that, and before the rainy season?
That's the plan, yes. It's probably gonna take, if we get the dump truck fixed or get the dump truck, probably 3 weeks to finish it.
I noticed in the past few days, the pumping water into the canals on the other side of us. And so now, that water is coming into our rivers. Can we have an investigation, see how that water from the farmland is flooding our town?
Which side? On Woodland?
There's a problem there. There's a-
We don't really have a machinery to go in there. It's a lot of bushes. We were just talking about it the other day when we finished on the covers that day. And we couldn't even start because it was a flat tire, but we're planning to start taking all those bushes out to see if we found where it's coming from.
We definitely need to get what you're doing done. Let's get all that done.
Right.
And then it's gonna be very easy to do. If we have to, we don't have a dozer here, do we?
No.
If we have to rent one, push through there where you can see everything and watch it. We did the same thing with Hilliard. Hilliard was pumping water on this property for a long time, and we stopped it years ago. And that, the first thing is get all the culverts, get everything working, and then let's start finding where it's at. If we gotta dike it up, we'll dike it up. We gotta do whatever we have to do to keep the water off this place. And I think we talked about that as part of the plan. Get everything in place, and then start finding where the water's going. Yes, sir.
Rock budget, are you up to your rock budget yet? We just started a new year. But one of the things that we used to do, if we ever had a problem with the dump truck, Ridgedale will take the loads to you. So if you coordinate with them and you tell them, look, we need 4, I don't know how big a culvert y'all are putting in, but if you know more or less what it is, instead of them bringing it here, they can send it to you, the trucks will wait on you. You know, you do your compactions and all that stuff.
That is correct, but since there's so many roads in a bad shape, we might put one load over here and one load over
I'm talking about
there.
He's
for
just
your,
talking
for your
about
culvert, your
culverts.
woodland
Oh,
project.
yeah,
So y'all can continue on with that. They'll bring it to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bennett, I don't know if I asked you in the future to please itemize, or do you do that when you give the bill to the, central government?
Yes, that's on the invoice.
And the invoice? Okay, I'll look at the invoice. Thank you.
Where were we, who had, you? I'm finished. Okay, you finished, the treasurer's report.
I can do my regular, just a couple pages there, then take questions, and then we've got one other insurance thing to talk about.
Okay.
So basically, we dispersed $159,000 this month. Our total taxes receivable are $1,699,000. This year's taxes were, we assessed $1,742,000. Collected $194,443,000. We got $1,105,000 left. We collected $444,000 this month. Current year collections are $161,000 over last year. Delinquent taxes, about $15,000 less so far than last year's.
Sorry.
Well, basically, that's usually what I do, and then if there's questions, we go over more detail.
What is the percentage that we're at for this fiscal budget? The fiscal year started in October, correct? So we're 4 months in, so this is the first quarter?
Right.
Where are we at with that, Mr. Jones? What do you think? Give or take?
Our current, well, through December, we've spent a total of $270,000. The budget is $2,386,000. I said that wrong. Okay, that's the net. We've spent $409,000 out of $2,386,000 for our building. So that,
About a quarter of the way in?
You do it.
So we're on track. Thank you.
okay, the other thing is, Becky sent out to everybody about 3 weeks ago her health insurance thing. So basically, the second page compares Blue Cross with Humana and United Healthcare. And Blue Cross is definitely cheaper and has a better network out here. So I think they're the best alternative. And the first page shows the different Blue Cross alternatives. Our regular, if we stick with the same one that we have, is an increase of 1.6%. Not, that doesn't take into account how many people are in there. That compares the same employees under two different plans. So it really hasn't risen that much. So I think that's the way to go, is the way we, with the Blue Cross in the first column there.
Keep what we had, is that keep what we had?
And keep what we have.
Okay.
And you need approval, you need us to vote on that, right?
We need a motion.
Anybody have any questions?
This, with, the board had voted to eliminate the family coverage.
Right, that's not the way they measure the 1.6%. They take what the bill is right now compared to what it's going to change to with the same employees. So it's a 1.6% increase for the same coverage. Now, we have saved a good bit of money by changing the family coverage. So our premiums are actually lower.
That's what I was asking, the 8,000 and change, is that based on the reduced coverage, or is it based on low coverage?
8,600 is what it is right now with reduced coverage.
And it's gonna go up
We have one person we're gonna be adding, is Pedro Rodriguez. Other than that, all the current stuff is set. Only Emilio has the coverage and Pedro. Everybody else is
So you need a motion.
I think Louis had a question.
Yes, sir. Louis, you have-
No, I think he answered my question. That was regarding the two employees only.
Okay.
So in other words, if we keep what we have, we're saving money?
Yes. We have, I mean, we save, you know, quite a bit of money. I mean, it's hard to tell just from one month to another, but, our actual out-of-pocket is like $7,382 because of the, Curtis Pelham is paying his part for his wife. We subtract that.
And what are the other two companies that we have that?
Phase two, Humana, was like $13,000.
Yeah, that's.
United Healthcare was $11,800.
We're where we need to be.
There, everybody can do mine.
Okay. You got a motion?
Whatever, which?
Second page shows the three different companies. And the first page shows different Blue Cross options. The main one being HMOs save a little bit of money. We've never gone that route because we can't go to anybody out of the network and that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna tell you something, I've had HMO, with Blue Cross and Blue Shield for 25 years. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. Yes, everywhere I go, I've had surgery at some of the best doctors in the area, and never a question. I mean, I'm just saying, what we got is all right with me keeping what we have, but it's not as. And if you ever get put in a helicopter, you ain't got to pay the $56,000.
The HMO would be $8,137. So it's
Expensive.
no, it's less. It's about $500 a month.
Yeah.
$450.
So what are we going with that?
What do y'all think?
I say we leave it with what we have right now. Keep the same 1 year suggestion. Up on the 1.6,
That's not a lot.
That's less than
I've
$200.
seen, yeah. But we need a motion on the floor.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. John, that went pretty fast.
Thanks for the report.
Thank you, sir. The district attorney.
Yes, sir. The actuarial services agreement has been finalized and executed. We've worked out some of the terms with the company, and they're going to be starting their work shortly. This is, as you recall, a new requirement under state law and the auditing standards. Item number 2, hopefully you all received an email from me regarding the road resurfacing project for Hacienda Boulevard and Bell Club Avenue. That's a very big project undertaken by the board. February 4th at 2:30 p.m. there's going to be a mandatory pre-bid meeting here.
What's the date again, sorry?
February 4th, 2:30 p.m. And all these dates should be in an email that I sent to all of you. And then on February 20th at 4 p.m., that's when bids are due here at the district office at or before 4 p.m. That's February 20th. And then we timed that so that we'll have about a week, that's the district staff, to organize the bids, review the bids, and then a week later, at our February 27th meeting, is presented to you, the board, with a recommendation based on our review. The ultimate decision is the board's, but we gave ourselves a week to kind of review those bids and present it to you at the February 27th meeting. So, if anyone has any questions, I want to thank board member Mata for his help. He was very helpful in working with Mr. Bennett and I, giving us input on the RFP. Next item is, I sent you an email regarding Admedio and some issues with background checks. You should all have received, I know, Louis, you've been having problems with emails, but I did do a new background check, and there are no criminal convictions. that were reflected on that background check. And importantly, I went back and actually looked at the original background check that was done when Emilio was first hired here, and that same item showed up. But again, at that time, it wasn't considered an issue because there was no conviction. So I wanted to get that information to all the board members. And then the final item is I got here a little earlier today. Emilio called me and said that the employees had wanted to meet with the board in a private meeting. We let them know that the board can have a private meeting. So Emilio suggested they meet with me. I met with them today, 6 of the 7 workers here at the district. I spent about an hour with them to hear what their concerns and issues were. And I can say just a few quick things. Number one, I was very impressed in the camaraderie. These guys are happy to be here. They get along very well with each other. That was very clear. They were very, they praised Emilio for, they like him as a manager. They're very appreciative that he rolls up his sleeves and gets in there with them when they're working. But the big issue they wanted to say was they feel that they're working with one arm tied behind their hand as it relates to the equipment.
Help is on the way.
They literally insisted that I go out back. And they gave me a tour out back there. And I gotta say, I looked at the smaller dump truck. You wouldn't find me in that vehicle. That thing died. Nobody's recognized it yet. It's I don't think it would pass any DOT inspection. It's looking hurt. But they also, the mower. They said basically they're ready and willing to get work done, to pick up the pace. Like for example, maintaining the roads. They can't keep a good pace because they just, with the small dump truck and the problems, it's off again, on again, they just can't. They said they want to get out there and get a good pace going, but they just pled that please help them get the equipment. I spoke to a meeting about bringing back to you all a list of priorities. We can't do everything all at once, but maybe presenting to the board some priorities in terms of equipment. We just voted on one of them, which is that.
Help is on the way.
Yeah, so. It was a very positive meeting. I was impressed. It seemed like a crew that was ready and willing to get to work. And that's all I have.
Okay.
I have a question,
Yes, ma'am.
taking from the last meeting. Did you get my email on, for the insurance brokers? And I told you to contact Mr. Fomero for the second person so you could start.
Yeah, for the PG, the email that you sent me that has the Excel spreadsheet broke down from that company, it's actually for workman's comp.
And the regular insurance, it was supposed to be for regular insurance here.
For the traveler's insurance, for the equipment, and for the,
And for the, everything, it was a comprehensive insurance, as far as I understood. They wanted to know the truck numbers, if you had them listed, if, all of that information.
that was from the traveler's insurance, that was the John Perry insurance. That's the one that I have, that I received.
Not John Perry, no, it was a woman, Kathleen.
It's USI, if I'm not wrong, it's just, the way you break.
Different broker.
Yeah, it's a different broker, but it is the, same company.
Okay.
But being that John Perry spoke with Travelers Insurance, that's how we got the better deal of getting $5,000 less through the same company, through John Perry Insurance. And that's what you guys voted on to temporarily sign for it on the last meeting, Mr. Right? That's what we signed on, so we would, keep the insurance going until we continue to,
Right.
investigate the USI
So
insurance.
did you get the other name of the other broker for Mr. Fomero? There were 2 brokers.
The only one I got was the USI one. I didn't get one from Mr. Fomero. I didn't know.
I told you to call him because I don't remember his name. You sent me an email on 2 brokers for insurance for about a year and a half.
Yeah, so better part of a year, but.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this.
I didn't speak to Mr. Fomero at all.
You're saying we should go and get some bids?
Other bids
Other
besides,
bids than,
When do we go up for
we
renewal?
went automatically with her.
Didn't we just sign the renewal?
Yes.
We got,
Yes.
But you said that we could stop that insurance if we got a better insurance.
Sure, if you get a better.
That's the only reason why I told her to, you know, to do
One
it.
thing about
Because
the,
you had said that.
one thing about the comprehensive policy is it covers so many things. It covers the vehicles, it covers all equipment, all the general
That's right.
liability, the officer, the director's liability,
Yes.
and all this governmental endorsements and stuff. It's hard to shop it around, so it's not like.
Well, these
buy
two
a truck.
brokers, they specialize, according to what Mr. Romero wrote on the letter that he sent me, they specialize on water districts.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I figured, you know, why not investigate?
Yeah.
I'll get you those,
Yeah,
I'll get you
send it
those
to me.
names. Yeah, there are people.
okay, yeah, let's get back to, we're done with everything else, let's get back to you. Now what, you got the dump truck, what else you need?
The other items that we are, which is under the dump truck is the boom mower.
Boom over this.
We have somebody from Kelly that came in because they couldn't haul it over there so fast. Somebody came in and they looked at it. And basically he says, before we can even give you an estimate on repair, we're gonna give you an estimate to see what's wrong with it. That's exactly what he says. And he says it wasn't gonna be less than $4,000 or $5,000.
Good.
Because they have to, you know, literally break it apart and
What options do we have?
Yeah.
What's the value, trading value right now?
$11,000.
What do you have, we have a lease?
Yeah, you guys should have, I think it's John Deere and,
He said that,
yeah.
Yeah. He said it right there.
he said that, right?
It was one from, I think it's Nortrack, a John Deere, and another one from Kelly.
What was roughly?
169 for the John Deere and 161 for Kelly. Well, the John Deere is a way better tractor.
Yes.
This one is a Massey Ferguson, so.
What Everglades tell you? Because we have a great relationship with the Schlechter family. I know. that.
Everglades never send anything.
Everglades farm equipment is John Deere.
John Deere.
Well,
If you
well,
talk
we
to
got,
them,
Yeah, you talk to them, you're talking to the headquarters of
yeah,
Everglades.
they own everything
They
around.
own everything.
Yeah.
What did they give you?
they gave me a John Deere 6-cylinder 6110 or something like that, 6110M.
Did they give you options?
He had a,
15 years, 100 years, maybe?
he sent a lease and a full price. I don't remember the numbers, the lease numbers or anything like that, but I know the total was 169 for the John Deere.
Can we lease the home?
He
That's part of the
did,
deal.
yes, he
Okay.
did say so. And the Kelly tractor did it too. It showed some terms. I think the lease, if I don't remember wrong, it was for 6 months. And then after 6 months, you have to decide if you buy it or not, something like that. I got the papers on the office.
You know what? I know that family. When I grew up there, if you want to, let's take a visit. We'll go speak with the owners and see if they can really deal with us.
No problem.
Understand our circumstances and maybe back to the board with, hey, this is the best that we can do.
I'll do whatever it takes to get everything done.
But we need, so right now, we have no sidearm.
We haven't had a sidearm for a long time. This is not now, this is for a long time.
Why don't we approve,
Maybe that's not a good idea.
Let's approve it.
let's approve it and then let's approve it.
This is way before me. This is
Yeah,
not.
Understood.
We need a motion to,
Which equipment are we gonna be, what price?
the John Deere, for
John
a
Deere?
little bit of money is, I mean, y'all, whatever everybody votes.
The difference was 7,000 or
Yeah,
something.
John Deere is a lot better tractor, a lot better, all day long.
Lease it,
Um,
lease it.
Lease it, we get 6 months, why don't we get it for 6 months, and then we have to make up our mind in 6 months? That gives us time to do what we need to do, go see the selectors, and, I can go by there too, we can buy a lot of equipment from them, and we'll have it, we can go to work, and then we can nudge them a little bit, see if they'll help us a little bit.
All right.
So, we need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We need a second.
I'll say.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Opposed? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
On the equipment of the stuff that we have, the truck that we have,
Yes.
are we authorizing the manager to sell those?
It's there, we're not paying anything for it, I just figured we'd take care of getting him some equipment to work with now, and then we can do it now, or we can do it in another meeting, get it set up for sale. Auction, fire sale, whatever you want.
So, no, we, I think now when we can use some of that money
Yes.
towards what we're gonna encounter.
Right,
So
sure.
I hereby make a motion that we take all the good used equipment that we have. All right, no, I don't want the bidder to say, no, you said it was junk.
You're right.
It's as is.
By the way.
Good used
yes.
equipment that we have,
Yes.
that we no longer need or is not operating properly, to be set at one side of the field. And then once everything is set in there, put an ad in the paper to have auction.
What,
Mr. Lewis,
John, what's the procedure there? We have to advertise?
Yeah, no, so, you don't have to advertise.
Okay.
Because this doesn't pass any of the thresholds.
Okay.
Or 300,000. So you can do that. There's also a lot of, I talked to you about this, websites now. So for government agencies only, where you can take pictures, you put all the specs, you put it out there and people bid on it. It's like eBay for equipment.
Oh, yeah.
That's a cheap way, because to do an auction is complicated.
Yes,
But
expensive.
I would suggest we explore some of those, you can put on multiple websites, see what bids come in. You can always say no.
Okay.
And just scope out what the value is. There's two things. One is the equipment that you need to get rid of. The other is there's a lot of scrap metal. I mean, it's a big old pile of scrap metal.
I thought he was gonna give us a bid.
I think we should make him bid for it. I think there's other people out there. I'm joking, joking. You see, that's the thing. No, but seriously, I think, you do need to, it's always a good idea to get more than one bid on anything.
So I hereby make a motion that the manager make the arrangements, move all the stuff, good use equipment to this side.
Mr. Napoli,
Get rid of it.
the big excavator will not move an inch.
Even where it is,
We
we
drag
sell
it,
it.
push it.
We can drag her, it's about 150,000 pounds.
Just sell it, they'll come get it.
The pictures ideas are good because they ain't gonna move.
Like all those little pressure washers and all
You got
that
a
stuff
second?
that we have there.
Yeah, that we can, yeah. that-
Anything you can't use, put it on the list.
Put it in
We have a
there.
motion?
Yes, that's it.
We have a second?
got plants growing in.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. You got a lot to do. What else? What's next on your list?
Well, let's go follow the agenda here.
I think that was about it, right?
It's gonna come.
We've got some things here on the agenda.
Where did I overlook there? We
Item
went through
6.
these.
So you already talked about the Mack truck?
Yes.
Yes,
That's 6A. 6B is playground equipment.
playground equipment.
Oh, right. Playground, we, you guys received through email different, quotes, for different sizes. I did call the companies and a lot of them mentioned that the installation price will be based on which playground we decide to go with if we do that. So I don't have the installation price, that will be after you guys decide something about it, but that's
I gotta
the
ask, I
price.
wanna ask you a question. Is the playground, is it shut down?
Yes,
Roped
it
off?
is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
That's-
It's been fenced with the signs and
Okay,
everything.
okay, yeah, we don't want it to. So, what are we gonna do with the playground? We're gonna,
What was the price?
the quote? Yeah.
There was a lot of different prices depending on the site. The higher one, I think it was $41,000, and then it goes down to 36, 27, I think 18.
18 was the last.
What's gonna replace what we have there?
The entire playground.
So, 40,000?
Yes.
No, so the 40,000, what's similar to what's there, to what was there?
The 40,000.
40,000?
Yes.
And will they, and they're gonna give you a price, if you tell them 40, they're gonna give you an installation price?
Yes. Yes.
Can we cover this with the budget we have set aside for the clubhouse? Buy this out of the clubhouse budget?
It depends, because, you guys need to remember that we also have quotes for the roof and all that, and the pool
The
too.
pool resurfacing is another big ticket.
Yes, so the pool, I think you guys have an estimate for $30-something thousand, and repairs are like 15,000. The roof, one of the estimates is $30-something thousand.
I'm gonna tell you something right now, that estimate, I'm not real convinced that that's necessary. That roof, how old is that roof?
No, I know that, it's just
Yeah,
that.
there's a leak up there, but I don't believe that you have to re-tin that whole, that part of that roof, because it's not that old.
No, that
So,
estimate, I think,
saw that
if is the
estimate.
one that we're talking about, is
Crazy.
because each and one of them, they agree on the same, reason why we have so much leak, and it's because the crown glass all the
Right.
way on the top of the clubhouse.
Right, so you're gonna spend $30,000 to re-roof a roof that doesn't need roof, because the top part, we need to fix where the leak's coming from.
No, those 30,000, have nothing to do with the roof, that's only the glass.
What I read, the one I got right
They're not
here,
gonna work on the glass.
they're gonna do everything but the
But
glass.
Well, there's a lot of different of them, I
Yeah.
don't remember exactly which. one.
Everybody's denied to work on the glass,
Yeah.
nobody wants to work on the
Well,
glass, 'cause
Nobody
that's,
wants to.
that's what's gonna leak.
That
No, but
right
the
there,
thing is
that
that
right there is a
everybody-
band-aid. You just say, look, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna replace all of it, and I'm not gonna be responsible for the glass. That's probably where it's leaking, but all that tin does not need to be replaced. It's not that old. The water, I guarantee you, is coming from the glass or the flashing,
Yeah.
which is
No,
$2,800.
the
not
metal is
$30,000.
fine,
Yeah,
the metal
well,
roof is fine.
yeah, well, here, they wanna replace the metal roof or some of it.
No, we don't need to replace
Well,
it, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Get a bid maybe just to reseal, remove and reseal.
Why don't we, has everybody turned in their bids?
Except for
Well,
those that's
Except
small.
for Clay
Okay.
Johnson.
Y'all wanna give these guys another month, I mean, it's wet now.
And talking about the budget, the clubhouse budget is only $272,000, if I don't mistake, which, because we adopted last year budget.
Okay.
There is a capital of 20,000 or 15,000, I think, and there is 32,000 that was put there for the summer camp that we can use for that. But other than that, everything else has the purpose
Okay.
on that budget. So,
It's what it's there for, it's to spend.
right, yes. No, what I mean
We're not
is that
saving no money.
in the budget, actually, it's
Yeah.
not enough money to cover everything that needs to be done
You can't
right
let,
now.
you can't let the clubhouse deteriorate because we can't fix the
That's
roof.
true.
It's
that's
gotta be
true.
fixed. But I saw that and I go, wow,
Yeah.
that's just
You can do it in phases also.
so let's wait for the rest of that